Welcome back to Tiny Travelers. This podcast is brought to you by BabyQuip, the go-to service for renting clean, safe baby gear at your destination. Whether you're flying across the country or heading out for the weekend, BabyQuip helps you travel light and stress less. Welcome to Tiny Travelers, brought to you by BabyQuip, the family travel podcast where we make traveling with little ones easier, smarter, and more fun. I'm Sarah, a travel-loving mom who knows the joys and chaos of exploring with little ones. Each week, we dive into parent-tested strategies, travel hacks, and honest advice on what really works with kids. So buckle up, grab your travel planner, and let's make your next family adventure unforgettable. Pack light, travel happy. Today, we're joined by Nicky Rishi, a twin mom and the founder of Miss Poppins, an AI-powered platform that offers real-time parenting support. After becoming a mom during the pandemic, Nicky saw how isolating early parenthood can feel and decided to create the kind of help she wished she had. She's here to talk about how tech, community, and a little planning can make travel with kids feel easier and a lot more supported. Nicky, welcome to Tiny Travelers. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited as well.
Yes. So let's just jump right in. You became a twin mom during the pandemic to two boys. Is that right?
Identical twin boys. Yes.
That must have been kind of a wild ride.
To say the least, never a dull moment. We actually call it in our twin mom world, it's called twin sanity.
And I can imagine.
it truly was. But what a blessing. Double the fun, double the craziness, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I imagine during that time, like a lot of parents did, you probably felt isolated, alone, but not alone because now you have these two little people that rely on you. So can you tell us, what that experience was like and how that led to Miss Poppins?
Yes, I had a fun little career in global HR corporate world and was used to having access to so many resources, point solutions. The world really was all about instant gratification, instant access, and everything. And then when I became a mom, I quickly realized that we really left the fundamental element of society behind somehow, and that's the parent. We just couldn't figure out how to navigate the learning world, the education world, the tips, pointers, any of the different solutions we needed, how to raise a child in today's world. We were going through so many different resources, different infrastructure, whether it's Facebook, Google, scavenger hunting, really, to understand how do we become a parent, a good parent, and how do we raise twins. I said, we need an Uber for parenting. And long and behold, a couple years later, Employee Benefits News, Parent Magazine, they've all covered us as Uber for parenting instead. So what we said is, what if there's an ecosystem of support that combines all the coaches, specialists, providers through all the phases and challenges of a parenting journey? Let's say from conception to toddler years to beyond. Grandparent coaching. How do baby boomers be the caregivers they want to be? Empty nester, couples counseling on to be good parents, right? So think about all the different point issues you're facing through all the challenges. What if we create an infrastructure that brings them all together with instant access, instant chat, and help the parent that way? They never need to look anywhere else. They'd have a roadmap towards this whole parenting journey. And that's where Miss Poppins was born, with this very idea to disrupt parenting. And here we are with a full-fledged army of coaches, a community that has become stronger than ever.
That's amazing. I love that you said ecosystem, because you're not just a parent to a baby and then that's it. There's so much that goes on in that parenting ecosystem that a lot of people don't even realize happens. until you have a child. And then you're like, how do I find a pediatrician? When do they go to the dentist? What's the best playground? Where can I get OT? Like, there's so many different things that you just don't realize that change your own ecosystem as a parent. And so I love that you're kind of bringing that all together. Were you finding as a parent that you mentioned going to a lot of resources, Facebook, all the blogs and all that kind of stuff, and just getting wildly mixed?
It truly is the case. I think it's just, I call it a scavenger hunt for answers for parents. And there is no playbook, there's no book of answers. And I've always thought that in life, there may not be black and white solutions to everything, but certainly there is a roadmap towards how you can be better professionally, how you can be better health-wise, mentally, spiritually. So as a parent, what if a roadmap does exist where you don't have to really look at a mix of opinions, answers? And the problem also was then someone would say, hey, what about your pediatrician, right? Or what about a sleep coach or a lactation coach? Great. So let's start with a pediatrician. Very limited advice, very limited answers, just basically medically necessary. And I'd classify that as 20% of the issues that parents face. The 80% in the day-to-day that they're going through is really not addressed anywhere unless they go through 60 platforms, 200 hours of research a year, like so many different data points we saw when we were researching about building this, that the parents are getting mixed answers, mixed resources to lead to more confusion on the one question they have. And the second part is, okay, get a coach, right? If you have a sleep question, get a sleep coach. If you have a lactation question, get a sleep lactation. Fine, but where? How? Yelp, then schedule, then talk, then consult. And it's like, I don't have the time as a parent to go navigate multiple point solutions. All right, let's solve all of that by creating one all-in-one, again, ecosystem that brings all the specialists in one place. You start chatting and you're on your way to get the answer you want from an expert. Interestingly enough, feedback we always get is, are you telling parents how to parent? Culturally, are you taking the cultural stigmas into account, the different ways parents are, personalities? No, we're providing evidence-backed, scientifically researched answers. So these are certified coaches telling you what to do, how to do it the right way. So they're equipping you with the power of knowledge, and how you implement it is on you. Your value system is you, right? Where you go about it, how you go about it is still you. So imagine being a coached person with a roadmap to have, and then how you go about on the journey to reach your destination is you. That's really kind of the best of both worlds there. That's the mission.
I love that. So you're not just, giving kind of these broad general ideas that you're getting from, a friend on Facebook or a group here or there. You're providing them with the actual knowledge that they can then go apply to any part of their parenthood journey. You can use kind of that same evidence-based scientific information to form your own opinions about how you want to raise your family.
Just like anything else in life, right? Like you can bring the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that's really the analogy you use. We equip you with the right resources and knowledge, and then how you want to parent is on you.
I love that. How'd you come up with the name Miss Poppins?
I love that. Well, to counter that, we wanted a ubiquitous, loved, universal character that solved the parents' pain point. Who better than Mary Poppins? And so when I started it the first year, it was Mary Poppins. The platform was called Mary Poppins. And we said, oh gosh, if Disney ever comes after us, it'll be a good problem to have, because that means we've made it. And long and behold, just a year later, it was such a popular concept across parenting communities that we had to change and pivot to Miss Poppins, which isn't as directly of a name, but still resonates with the idea of someone that is there to help you every step of the way and relieve any stress that you have.
I love that. Yeah, you definitely don't want Disney coming after you. You've described Miss Poppins as kind of real-time support. You can chat with experts, coaches, people who know their stuff. What kind of support do you think that it can offer parents who are traveling, who maybe are on the move, vacationing, going to grandma's house, all those kind of stressful events that happen when you're having kids and have to go places?
So think through the different pain points that parents may experience, right? I have an infant and I need to vacation in a new spot, and you might need newborn care specialist. There's a travel specialist that we actually have. It's funny as a coach. So the coaches, what I love about the coach community is that they have figured out the different areas of the pain points that parents may need. That doesn't necessarily have to be the big specialty of sleep or lactation or doula, but really like the performance-based coaching is what I love, where we have a travel specialist that can help with newborn care while you're on the road, what equipment to bring, how to navigate the emotions during a transition phase as you go into a new city. You have a parenting coach on that. You have a development coach on that. And so through and through, the nuanced challenges that you may think, in addition to the big main challenges, we certainly are thinking through all of the different specialties and saying, how can we help the parents, especially as it comes to day-to-day stuff, whether it's vacationing, whether it's traveling, what is the equipment that you need, and of course, partnering with specialists and vendors like yourselves with BabyQuip. Funnily enough, like my first year of parenting, didn't know about BabyQuip. And I researched and I thought, what a great platform to have, right? And so you're providing the product, the vendor placement side. And I used BabyQuip for a double stroller in New York when we were visiting. And I loved that concept. And we said, partnerships are important too, in addition to coaching through the different phases that parents are facing on the day-to-day.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you love BabyQuip, because so do I. But I'm sure, as a mom of twins, you have to double everything, juggle double of everything. Maybe different routines, tantrums, all that kind of stuff. So what are some travel strategies that you've used with your twins and your family to help you when you're on the go?
Every phase was different. And the infancy phase was the hardest when we were traveling with the twins. First and foremost, not to take everything with you, because you want to pack 10 suitcases. When you have twins, you want to pack the double stroller. You want to do so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the concept of minimalism is what I carried through and through life. And so some of the strategies were really around simply finding a vendor like BabyQuip that we can rent in a new destination, small things that we didn't need to necessarily carry that ended up causing heavy duty stress and pressure. The other thing was, of course, packing some of the basics, just so when you arrive from kind of the formula to the groceries and things like that, you have that all figured out. So we certainly used local concierge services quite a bit to figure that part out. Care.com, Urban Sitter for local nanny help or support here and there. So really leveraging the tech out there, the platforms that exist, from product to services to placement. We were able to do quite a bit in terms of outsourcing that help. Honestly, jet lag was the hardest when you're traveling with kids.
Yes.
And so we have that sleep care specialist with a jet lag coaching that I thought that we need on our platform, because we said, how do you really navigate that difference with like two toddlers who are structured to eat together, sleep together, all of that, and you have a new time zone. And to different strategies on the sleeping was, of course, to start 15-minute increments and slowly get there, right? But I mean, gosh, if you're traveling internationally, just let it play out, let the sun soak it in the day, and try to have the blackout blinds as well. And so, really, researching a lot about it and different phases that we were facing. And as the twins grew up, we actually were in London this past summer with them being 5 years old, and they went to a British summer camp.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh, I never thought about like going to another country and then putting your kids in camp. That's very cool. I'm going to think about that.
We actually want to do this. We want them to be exposed to different cultures, and we waited till they were 5 to go international and expose them. But we have done different cities in the US in the summer, and we've put them in preschool camps, whether it's 2 hours, whether it's 3 hours. So that's part of travel, right? Like, we have made sure that they get exposed to the Eastern culture of the US and versus what Midwest is. And we did Britain, we did London this year. And my biggest thing was how different culturally, how different the housing infrastructure, all of that is. And so BabyQuip, we couldn't find anything there in London. I might have missed it, but really one of the big things was finding summer camps. And we've seen a lot of AI generated tools and resources out there that actually help you to be the planner for kids' stuff and activities, and a ton of online resources to be able to help understand and navigate the system. And they loved the London British camp. They came back just knowing about pounds and not dollars at age 5, and now everything is pounds. But that little accent is escaping as we speak. But it was a wonderful
that was
experience.
really cute, though.
Yes.
That is such a really cool idea because, you know, as adults, when you're traveling to another country or another state, somewhere else, you're kind of absorbing that adult culture for yourself. But then as kids, how are they going to absorb kind of their own relative culture in another place? So putting them in camps or classes or something like that, I think that is such a cool idea. I would have never thought about that, but I'm going to look into that. That's a really good idea. What are the 2 to 3 things that you never travel with kids?
Gosh, never travel with for kids.
I imagine it probably changes from age to age.
It really does. Like, this is like, I wish I had just like, if this was an adult conversation, I would have like straight answers, but I'm like, okay, well, infancy was different. Like, you know, toddlerhood was different. Now that they're kind of early childhood, it's so different. I honestly would say we leave behind all of the big heavy duty stuff, because that's where, you know, we leverage vendors like BabyQuip. So the stroller, the wagons, their toys, all of the heavy duty stuff we actually leave behind. And we take some of their favorites, like the loveys, and they like the pillows. So we've definitely packed that. But I don't know, actually, if there is anything where like we have to leave behind besides the heavy duty stuff. I mean, of course, we have a list of things we have to take just in case. I mean, London was very hard, where we weren't sure what all we were able to get. There was no Amazon right away, even though it exists. The brands and everything was so different. But it's quite a fun challenge to solve for 2, and we figure it out as we go.
Oh, I imagine. I mean, I had 2, they weren't twins, they're not twins, but 2 boys that are about 22 months apart. So just navigating traveling with 2 different ages, but kind of in the same stage was very complicated. But I will say I never brought any sleep solutions like cribs or pack and play, travel crib, anything like that. I just kind of trusted that our routines and, you know, our lifestyle would just fall into place. And we could always get whatever we needed wherever we went in terms of like sleep solutions. So
Yeah, sleep is a big one. And I think there's funny memes out there on social media where they say parents are not vacationing, they're just doing parenting in a new place and doing the work in a new place. And it is hard, right? Like with the sleep schedules and jet lag, as we were talking about. You can't get your favorite blackout blinds, you can't get your favorite pillow, all of that stuff. And I think certainly like BabyQuip type vendors come in handy, because that's just the reality of us vacationing with little kids, is how do we carry everything and create a home environment.
you just can't. You cannot carry everything. And I know a lot of new parents kind of think my baby's got to have everything in order to feel comfortable. I have to have everything to feel comfortable. But I'm not totally sure that that's the case, because you were talking about kind of minimalism as a concept for your travel a little bit earlier. And so I think that that is something that some people have a really hard time getting into, um, because they want to have all those comforts of home. But like you were talking about, different places have different infrastructures, have different cultures, and things are a little bit different. And sometimes that is what really, connects those synapses in kids' heads and creates new learning experiences and new um, interests. And, they grow from a little bit of change and not having the exact same things as they had at home. I mean, I guess that's why I like to bring my kids places. I don't, like you said, it's parenting in a different location, but for kids, it's such a growth opportunity as well.
I really think it builds resilience. We would say that when we were feeling like we're in the rut of, especially because these are COVID twins, right? COVID babies. We felt like we were in a rut of the same routine and patterns where they started being a little bit more cranky, or some of the routines weren't working well. We would say, hey, let's take a trip, or let's change things up. And for some reason, even though it was disruptive, for some reason, even though we didn't have all the comforts of the home, we noticed that that change and that disruption allowed them not just to be resilient, but allowed them to be more. It was almost like they were grateful for the change and learned that they couldn't be brats at home anymore, because they learned how to be grateful about the home, and they miss being away. But it allowed for more routines to be made and better resilience to be taught. And hence the idea to try a new city every summer with them, try new people, new friends, and get that exposure early on. Travel is an important part of parenting, and understanding how to do it is even more important.
Yes, I think that is so true. And it does create a lot of, resilience and kind of not only love for where you came from, but love for other places as well. Um, and I think, a lot of times moms feel so nervous about traveling because it will interrupt their schedule. It will interrupt kind of what you have going on at the time. But it sounds like that was really very beneficial for you.
It does interrupt, and I think that is exactly why it was beneficial, is because we needed that interruption very much so. So I would say that if you ever feel like after a few months or some time there's a little bit of a rut and the patterns are not working and the routines are being disrupted, I think change your surroundings. It's actually the same, right? So travel's kind of same when we talk about kids having a hard time with toddlers eating in an environment. Analyze the environment, change it. Do you want to eat outside in a similar place, or do you want to give different types of utensils for them to feel the change? Right? Change. The only thing constant is change, and once they get into the rut of things and things are not working, we really noticed whether it's changing the feeding environment, whether it's changing the sleeping environment or the home environment. Things started to fall back into the pattern we wanted to. So definitely a good mechanism to have.
What would you say to a parent who's maybe afraid to take their first trip with a baby, because, they're worried about it being messy or chaotic, stressful? whatever their fears are?
I would say to really not let fear take away some of the most beautiful moments of parenting. And the beautiful moments are made in the challenges that you're facing, right? So if you are trying to um, stress out about the destination, you're not going to enjoy the journey. It's just very simple mottos to live by in life. Again, everything in life, the only thing in life that's constant is change. Um, and when you step outside your comfort zone, you're growing. So there's so many mottos that come in my mind, and I'm just thinking that the thing is to enjoy parenting with all the challenges that it brings, because if it didn't, it wouldn't be enjoyable. Even we don't think that. Of course, the mental load is very real of parenting. And a lot of times, this is my mom herself, right? She doesn't understand why we do what we do. She's like, you're comfortable in the walls of your own house with your support infrastructure. Why disrupt that? But it's more fun, and it's more of a life-changing experience that the kids should also experience. And stress, I think, is just a form of anxiety that that doesn't exist, and then you're thinking about it. So just take the leap, the 5-second rule, like Mel Robbins says, count to 5, and then just do it. Right? The rest is history. So I'd say disrupt and see a better change coming through rather than stressing about
I
it.
like that. I like that. And Miss Poppins is there to help assist. It's kind of like, your parenting bestie out there to help you. What would you say to parents who are maybe afraid to ask for help or need to get out of that mindset that they, can't listen to experts or don't want to listen to different opinions and kind of don't want to ask for help or don't want to get out of their bubble?
That's a tough one, only because it's hard to change someone's mind, right? If they are stuck in their ways. There's a beautiful toddler story about a tree that didn't want to let go of its leaves. And all the trees around it in the forest grew and blossomed while it held on to its leaves. And what happened is, as a result, it stayed stagnant and it deteriorated over time. And what it was telling the toddlers is that you're going to be scared. You're going to be stuck in your ways. You're going to be scared to go to preschool, to make friends. You want to not leave mom or dad. You don't want to leave home, but the way to blossom, the way to grow, and the way to enjoy life and experience life is really to step outside your comfort zone, to learn, and to challenge the way you're thinking. Because if you're not moving ahead, it's not that you're stopped, it's that you're moving backwards. That's kind of really the way life progresses. And I would say, we had this stigma with therapy, with mental health for the longest time with baby boomers and part of Gen X. And now the fact that there is counseling and coaching that the new generation is so readily adopting. It's a beautiful thing because they're understanding the concept of generational trauma and they are changing it because of the awareness that exists on how you can truly change when you step outside of the stuck ways that you are predisposed to. And that's true about parenting. So just think about the relevance of it in this concept as well, or think about how this truly matters when you're a parent. Also, if you don't understand the different feedback points, you are new to parenting. Everyone is, right? You don't have to necessarily change your ways if you don't want to, but to shut yourself out from the coaching concept, the learning, the education, the resources concept is going to be a true injustice to your kid and to the beautiful life that awaits. And really open up to the new possibilities. You'll find it to be a lot easier to parent accordingly.
That is such a cool idea. I agree. You just have to open yourself up, take some time to learn a few new things. I mean, parenting is all about learning brand new things almost every single day, not only about yourself, but about the world, about your family, travel, whatever it is. So I think that is so awesome. Nicky, thank you so much for joining us and for the work you're doing to make parenting feel more supported and less overwhelming. You've reminded us that help doesn't have to come from a person standing next to you. It can come from smart systems, shared wisdom, and platforms designed with parents in mind. To everyone listening, if this episode gave you a tip, a mindset shift, or a little reassurance, you're not alone. Send it to another parent who needs the same. And remember, BabyQuip is here to help you pack light and travel confidently. Rent everything from cribs and strollers to sound machines at your destination. Use code TINYTRAVELERS at checkout to save $20 on your $100 rental at babyquip.com. You'll find all the links in the show notes, including where to follow Nicky and learn more about Miss Poppins. Until next time, wishing you calm flights, helpful tools, and happy travels. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Tiny Travelers. I hope today's episode gave you the inspiration and practical tips to make your next family adventure easier, stress-free, and more fun. If you loved today's episode, head over to the show notes for promo codes and exclusive resources to help you plan unforgettable trips with your little ones. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Happy travels, and I'll see you next time.